And now to security matters. There are fears in the northeast about the future of security in the region following Tuesday's attacks on 2 army bases by terrorists, which left at least 7 soldiers killed in Borno State. The attacks occurred less than 24 hours after another deadly attack on troops in the region. Although the military insists it has degraded the terrorists, local sources say the insurgents seized 3 gun trucks and 70 motorcycles intended for counter-terrorism operations and set the military base on fire. A video circulated on social media shows bodies covered with leaves and colleagues trying to identify the dead. The Senate has also asked the service chiefs to deploy men and modern equipment to the northeast. And now to discuss this, we're joined by security expert Darlington Omoro. Mr. Omoro, many thanks for joining us. Let's just get started. A very sad news indeed, and also worrying as well. The scale of the attacks gives the impression that our forces are on the back foot. Borno is on the boil again. How come we're back here again? What happened?
Can you take that question again? I didn't quite hear you very well.
I was saying that it seems that we are back here again, and the scale of these attacks give the impression that our forces are at their wit end, and Borno is at the boiling point at this point. So how come we're back here again, given all the body language from the presidency, the statements that was made, the joint task force, and all the emphasis in Borno and Katsina and Plateau? But to see this is unprecedented. What's going on?
Well, I think there's desperation on the part of the terrorists now. From what we're gathering, it's like both ISWAP and Boko Haram are unleashing terror almost at the same time and differently, unlike what we used to have in the past. So far, it's obvious that these terrorists are also hungry to cut away equipment, to further increase their strength. The military has denied the fact that the gunboats, 3 gunboats were not actually taken away. We are having conflicting stories as to whether that is true or not. But what can really not be defended right now is that there were attacks. There was also another report that said that those gunboats were actually set ablaze. They were set on fire. Apparently, that's one of the things the terrorists usually would do, so that in the course of reprisal, they will not be used against them. They want to paralyze the movement of such equipment so that they won't use them to come after them. But even so, it's not as if the terrorists had a field day and went away. But of course, you know that the army will always do what they know how to do best. But even so, it's not a good one at this point in time. Borno has been on the boil, like you said, for some time since December, and the military has been trying their best to see how they could curtail all of this. But don't forget that, like we said yesterday, the terrorists are deploying new equipment and mechanism, in carrying out some of this nefarious attack. But the army, the Nigerian military are up to it. They are up to the game.
Now, I mean, Mr. Omoro, this is a very bold move by the terrorists, I would say, even though you say that they seem desperate. But this is very bold because they're going to the military base. And this tracks with the governor of the state who said that the terrorists were regrouping and that things could get worse. And now they have indeed become worse. So it begs to ask the question, what exactly did we do wrong? And by we, I mean, the security forces, whether the Joint Task Force or the National Security Advisor or the presidency itself. What happened? What was amiss after that, call or cry for help from the governor?
I don't think there's anything they've done wrong. It's just that the terrorists they just wouldn't give up, and they are increasing their attack. They want to do all they could to instill that palpable fear again in Borno. All the military needs to do is to employ the use of technology at this point in time to monitor movement in Borno, particularly in those areas where they know that are culpable. Beyond that, it's not the first time we are having attacks at on military bases over time. It's not really the first time we are having such attacks. One of the reasons why they will want to attack a military base is to cut away, get equipment, particularly maybe when they are running short of what they have. The best place to go to get equipment, of course, is the military base, to see how they can also use that to beyond cutting away those wanting to equip themselves with the military equipment. They also want to reduce the strength of the military by cutting away those equipment in those military bases. But that is happening now does not mean that we have not experienced them in the past. But it's just that the military, I think surveillance, there should be more of surveillance with the use of the UAV, patrol aircraft, and all of that to monitor the sources of these terrorists and then take them out.
Now, so you said that that these attacks are not new, and the reasons why they happen is either they're trying to reduce the manpower. And by manpower, I mean the personnel of this bases, and also have access to their armory.
Not manpower. I said equipment.
So
they want to reduce the strength of the military, and then the strength by cutting away the equipment.
Hang on. Yes. Yeah. So the equipment, and it could be manpower. So whether you reduce equipment or not, persons have died, right? And in cutting away those equipments, persons have died, so that manpower has reduced, whether we like it or not. The question here is, how confident then are we that the tide could change or turn in the shortest possible time in the favor of the Nigerian army and the people of Borno?
Well, there's a lot of assurance, because the military apparently would not give up. And you do not expect that the terrorists will give up very easily and so soon. Borno is the home of Sambisa Forest, where they have their headquarters. That's where they are based, and of course, when they come out, they go for pockets of attacks. And so sometimes, since December, we have we've recorded a series of attacks across Borno State, particularly in those local governments that are close to the borders. And so it's as much as it calls for worry, but I do not think the military is overwhelmed at this point in time. They are still up to it. It is expected that at different times or at certain times, the terrorists will always come out, whether ISWAP, whether Boko Haram, will always come out to want to hit either the military or innocent citizens where there are gatherings. But I know that over time, two of those reasons I stated for attacking military bases are not out of place.
All right. Well, Darlington, many thanks for doing this with us. We appreciate you for coming on. Darlington, a more security expert, they're giving us a bit of insight following the attacks that we saw in Borno State.